right, let's dive into one of the most powerful stories in the Green Lantern lore. We're talking about Sodam Yat, a hero whose entire life is this incredible modern parable about destiny, rebellion, and what it really means to be a hero.
And this quote right here, this is everything. You have to get this to understand his journey. It's all about inversion. It's about becoming the exact opposite of everything the world tried to make you. So, let's start at the very beginning. Chapter 1, An Architect of Escape. A world of walls and a gaze fixed on the stars. This really sets the scene, doesn't it? It tells you everything you need to know about where he came from. Just try to imagine growing up on Daxam. I mean, this place is defined by thick stone walls and these suffocating artificial shadows. The main currency isn't money, it's suspicion. Everyone is afraid, and the rest of the universe, oh, that's just a big black void full of monsters. Get this, on Daxam, being curious wasn't a good thing. They treated it like a sickness that had to be stamped out.
And here is where you see the fundamental conflict, right? You have the wall builders versus the stargazer. While all his peers were building barricades, both literal and mental, Sodam Yat was an architect of the horizon. He was looking for his own personal light while everyone else was content to suffocate in the shadows. He wanted out. They were terrified of what was out there. Now, let's be super clear about this. Sodam Yat was not born a hero. His first goal wasn't to save anyone. It was a deeply personal, almost selfish rebellion. He just wanted to escape his home, to leave it all behind, and never ever look back.
Okay, so now we get to the moment that changes absolutely everything. This is where his personal quest to escape gets shattered by a brutal, horrible truth. Chapter 2, Inheriting a Lie, Awakening to a Murdered Truth. Yeah, it's about to get dark. So here's how it all went down. An alien named Tessog crashes on Daxam, and for a lonely kid like Sodam, he's like a kindred spirit. They form this secret friendship, but of course his parents find out, and they murder Tessog. But that's not even the worst part. They then brainwash their own son to make him forget it ever happened. For years, he just exists, until one day on a museum trip, he sees it, Tessog's body stuffed and put on display. And just like that, his whole world, his entire life, is revealed as a lie.
Wow. I mean, think about that. Out of all that pain and trauma, he learns this profound lesson. Being a hero isn't just about throwing punches. It's about having the courage to look at the story you've been handed down and refuse to accept the parts that are lies. All right, so our guy has a new mission. He's secretly rebuilding that alien ship, getting ready to finally escape. But the universe has a serious curveball to throw him. Chapter 3, A Fugitive Becomes a Servant, From Private Rebellion to Public Duty.
Can you just picture this scene? The night is here. He's finally ready to bolt. He's about to achieve his life's dream of running away forever. And then, a Green Lantern ring, one of the most powerful weapons in the cosmos, flies down from the sky and chooses him. A mechanic, covered in dirt, a rebel working in secret.
So, why him? Of all the beings on that planet, why this kid? It all comes down to one thing: willpower. The ring didn't care about his physical strength. It chose him because he had already fought and won the hardest battle there is. He had conquered the mental prison of his culture, the prison of his family's expectations, all before he ever even took a single step off that planet. But as he's ascending to the stars as a Green Lantern, the story takes this incredibly tragic, ironic twist. He's forced to watch his own people finally get power, and the result is horrifying. Chapter 4, Power Without a Compass. So, during the Sinestro Corps' war, the sky over Daxam turns yellow. Suddenly, all the Daxamites have powers, kind of like Superman. It's an incredible gift, right? A chance to be better. But what do they do with it? They don't build a better world. They don't seek peace. They immediately become the exact monsters they've always been afraid of, using their new strength to dominate and kill. And this brings us to the absolute core question of Sodam Yat's life, and maybe for all of us. What's the point of immense power if you don't have a moral compass to guide it? What is it, really? The answer is just brutal. It's nothing. It's just a bigger cage for your soul. All they did was trade their planet of stone walls for a new prison built out of their own fear and hatred. And that realization is what leads us to the climax of this whole saga. It's the moment where Sodam Yat makes a choice that completely inverts his life's original goal. Chapter 5, Becoming the Sun, the ultimate act of self-immolation. So here's what he does, and it's just mind-blowing. He decides to sacrifice his freedom, the one and only thing he ever wanted his entire life,
for the very people who trapped him. He flies directly into the heart of their red sun, and with his sheer willpower, he transforms it, turning it permanently yellow. He gives his people the power to defend themselves forever. So just think back to where we started. This whole story began with a boy who wanted nothing more than to escape the world beneath his red sun. And it ends with him literally becoming the sun. I mean, you can't write a more perfect, poetic, and tragic character arc. He became the very thing he was running from, but he did it to give everyone else a chance at a future.
So, what happens after a sacrifice like that? What's the legacy? Let's talk about the tragic but really meaningful aftermath, the legacy of the living battery.
Yeah, he won, but what a victory. It was brutal. He became a living battery, a constant source of power for his people. But he was a prisoner of his own gift. See, Daxamites have this fatal weakness to lead, and being inside a sun, he was in constant, agonizing pain from lead poisoning. The only thing keeping him alive was his ring. In the end, he was broken by the very world he gave everything to save. And maybe that's what true heroism actually is. It isn't about being invincible. It's about bearing the lead, that heavy, toxic poison from your past, and still finding a way to be a light for other people. That's his ultimate legacy. He took this closed-off, terrified culture, this walled garden of fear, and he single-handedly blew the gates wide open, turning their prison into a launchpad to the stars. So the story of Sodam Yat is proof that where you come from doesn't have to be where you end up. And it leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, right? A question for you. What walls in your own life, the ones you inherited or the ones you built yourself, can you turn into gateways?